I really hate the word cancel culture. The concept in itself just doesn't ring right to me. It's like canceling is something that's done voluntarily, and it's not necessarily something bad. I mean, you're canceling the subscription to my channel. I mean, I take it back. It's actually a bad thing. But it should be more like persecution culture, like persecuting people for things that have nothing to do with their job, but they should be fired for it anyway. And the main problem is like no one knows what the rules are. And this more often than not can lead to some very loosey outcomes, because if you look at the grand woke narrative, they sometimes choose the particular victim demographic of the year, and then they move quickly away from that. Like, for example, in 2016, it was women. And like they were the victim of the month, and they were the ones that everyone was talking about, and the C word was very censored and heavily banned. But then they moved away from that, and it became like transgender, and people that were like J.K. Rowling got swept under the bus. Then I believe by 2018 it was all about the Muslims, and now Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, is saying things that by 2018 standards would be considered Islamophobic. I mean, if I were to say the things that Emmanuel Macron is saying now, but I would say them in 2016, I would probably get community guideline strikes. If I were to suggest the measures that is implementing today, I would have suggested them in 2018, I would get in problems. You know, like it's very fascinating how it all moves around. And a couple of months ago, I would say, you had the progressives, like the woke people, mobilizing, I guess, against, well, their favorite enemy of all time, which is straight white males, but they also included Asians in the mix, to the point where you have an association which is very old and respectable in America. It's called the CACAGNY, which stands for the Chinese American Citizens Alliance of Greater New York. And they're coming out against critical race theory. And the reason they come against it is because they view that it targets Asians. Because they look at certain schools that claim that Asians are overrepresented, and through affirmative action, they keep other Asian students from joining. So they view this, rightfully so, as being discrimination. So they say that the graders at the Northern Californian elementary school math class were told that they lived in a dominant culture of white cisgender educated Christians, and that this culture was created to hoard power. And the third graders were told to check themselves off victimization categories to see whether they're oppressors or oppressed, according to CACAGNY. Now, the group examples of this doctrine seeping into workspaces and schools, where white employees and students were subjected to diversity training seminars and curricula that essentially asked participants to admit their complicity in an inherently oppressive system. So, you know, like they pretty much like declared war against wokeness. And if you're following Twitter and certain journalists and, you know, like people that are formulating opinions through blogging and whatnot, they started being blatantly racist against Asians, considering them to be white adjacent. That's the word they use, not I. So now it's really interesting because a lot of corporations over the last week, I believe, denounced violence that's done against Asian people. And that's a big yikes, because you see, if you're a woke ideologist, it's okay to be racist against Caucasians. And it used to be also okay to say negative things about Asians in certain examples. And now it's coming back to bite them. And it's coming back to bite them really hard. And, you know, like, I applaud it. I think it's a good thing. I think you shouldn't be racist. You know, like, just because people don't frown, and like, just because your circle of friends says that it's okay, doesn't mean you should be prejudiced. You don't have to. Like, all I'm saying, you can choose not to be. Eh? Now, one of the journalists that seems to be really in deep water over this is a senior Teen Vogue staffer. And honestly, you know, like, I don't know anything about this lady, except for the fact that she works at Vogue. But, you know, like, she looks like a pretty lady. She reminds me of Iris from that TV show The Flash, right? And apparently, like, she couldn't even work for a couple of weeks because immediately, like, the colleagues turned on her and found out that once upon a time, like, they literally unearthed tweets, okay? Like, it's like the Indiana Jones and the unearthed tweets. Like, they did offense necromancy on her. And they found out that back when my grandmother was in diapers, she used some offensive tweets. Yeah, welcome to Twitter, the free speech platform of the internet. Start your tweeting so you can get fired in a couple of years later on down the road. I literally like don't understand like how are people supporting this. Now, here's the funny part, all right? Like I think the reason she got canceled is because apparently a company that was using sponsorship at Teen Vogue pulled out when they found her tweets from Once Upon a Time, and the company was having like a $7-figure worth of ads. I mean that is like just so messed up, man. Like, come on, this is so unreasonable. You know, like punishing someone for what they're saying now, I get it. Okay, like I still disagree with it. Because the person doesn't get to have a lawyer, they don't get to show evidence, they don't get to defend themselves. It's usually like a he said, she said type of thing. Boom, bam, thank you, ma'am. You know, it's very American. But anyway, like what someone said years ago, that's ridiculous. I mean, you know, welcome to today, where the standards of today get to be judged by tomorrow's sensibilities. I just don't understand it. Like, is this like really the world you want to live in? Because here's the thing. Imagine if like in 9 years from now, everyone is going to be vegan, and everyone that defended being a meat eater in the past or said anything disparaging about the vegan diet should be canceled. Like, would you really want to go there? Like, it's just one example. Like, it can literally be about anything. Like, culture constantly changes. Punishing people from what they did 9 years ago is fucking ridiculous. Man, like, the statute of limitations does not apply to this crap now, does it? In my country, it is actually possible to commit a crime, and if the law didn't catch you after 9 years, they drop the case. They say, well, you know, like, he was out for so long, he might have, like, just regretted all the way. The idea is that it's very difficult for a person to mount a defense over something that happened years ago. Like, how are they going to defend? How are they going to provide evidence of it? So it's ridiculous. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, we cancel people for what they did when they were in diapers. Why not? Now check this out. Apparently, like, the senior Teen Vogue staffer who supported ouster of new editor used the N-word in tweets a decade ago. So let me get this straight. You know, like, this is the fakeness that I really hate. This is the fake. Like, you are setting a standard of purity that leaves me jaw-dropping, okay? And if I talk against your standard of purity and I say, look, it's impossible for people to just follow what you want to say. It's ridiculous. I'm the problem. How dare you speak against woke supremacy? Like, you must do bad things in your past. And the person accusing me of doing bad things in the past apparently did bad things in the past as well. Like, everyone did bad things in the past. Like, don't tell me that when you were a kid, you didn't do anything edgy. You know what I did when I was a kid? I broke a window once. Committed a crime. That is a criminal behavior. I took a stone and I broke a window. You know why? Because the house was abandoned. Breaking windows was fun. I never got caught for it. But I did break a window. Right? Everyone did something. Don't tell me that you're just that innocent and pure. Or what is the standard, huh? Like, if it creates a scandal. You know, this is like criminalizing breathing, but you don't apply the laws equally. You just pick and choose which of the breathers you want to punish. So a senior at Teen Vogue who expressed concern about the racist tweets posted by the magazine, now departed editor, used the N-word in their own tweets. 2010, Fox News reported. The friend to whom the comment were addressed appears to be white. Oh, so how does that make it any different? Is it now okay to call white people the N-word? Because I'm willing to bet if I do it, I get the saga of a cut treatment. Yeah? Didn't that cause like the massive Patreon exodus? Was it an excuse there? If you don't know, look it up. I'm not going to go into details here. After news of her tweets become public, she switched her account from public to private. Yeah, lock the doors, board the windows, of course. Of course, you know, like, man, couldn't happen to a nicer person. Like, what is up with these inquisitors? That judge everyone else, but when they're the ones being judged, oops, lock the doors, board the windows. You know what? I bet she's not even going to apologize for it. I bet she's not, because like these people understand the apology is the road to excommunication. Like, the apology isn't that you're sorry. The apology is admitting your guilt, so that everyone else can move with the prosecution. Honestly, like this lady right here, look at her face, okay? Do you know what I see when I look at this face? The face of vindication. Literally, like, I don't think anyone is happier right now than this lady right here. I can't believe I'm siding with a woke person. Like, I bet she's woke. Like, maybe I'm wrong, you know, but like, she works at Teen Vogue. Like, what type of people work there? It's like, I don't know if this person would have canceled someone. I just have a feeling she might. But you know what? Like, I can come up and say, yeah, her cancellation was a little bit exaggerated. Like, come on. Like, who cares what she said when she was young? Oh, Dios mío. It's kind of fun. It's the Ouroboros snake eating eating itself up, huh? I wonder, like, if she's going to get fired now, because that's the question. I love the contradictory nature of the phrase, and then she should pay Sargon money for intellectual theft. That's what she should do. But, like, no, think about it. Like, who are the people that, like, go all the way back to tweets from 2010? Listen to me. If you're watching this, okay, like, you'll thank me later. Delete your Twitter account. Or if you don't want to delete it, start a new one. Just every year, start a new one. Because, like, you don't know what you said, like, 25 years ago. Same with Facebook. Like, do it. Just clear your social media records every single time you get the opportunity. Because you're going to get a job, and there's going to be some person that weaponizes autism against you. They'll be like, oh, okay, let's... Like, can you imagine, like, just going through everyone's tweets and just scrolling down, trying to find something? You know what I don't get about cancel culture? Like, here's the thing that I don't get, alright? Please explain this to me. I'm putting my glasses on. I look intellectual. The idea is that some words are very harmful, right? So when you say something like that, you're creating harm to society. Now, in this particular case, like this lady right here, when she said these things, it was September the 14th, 2009. And she didn't get any single retweet. She didn't get any single like. So almost no one knew what she was tweeting. Like, the world was safe from her racismus. Isn't, like, putting that on a mainstream media outlet and exposing millions of people to the racismus doing the damage? But actually, these people don't think that words do damage. It's just a weapon. Like, they're weaponizing this against people they don't like. Like, when they see someone they don't like at a corporation, and that person is more talented than they are, and they want that person's position, instead of showing that they're better at the job to get the position, no, what they're doing is they're trying to cancel the person by finding tweets, ancient tweets from the pyramids, bringing the necromancer to raise them from the grave. And it's like, now we got a reason. And after they fire that person, they're the ones that probably get the job. And if not, they can just repeat this ad infinitum. Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys in the comment sections.